Hey, friends. All right. Today we're going to talk about what does goal setting do for you? Okay. What does goal setting do for you? So if you're watching, go ahead and pop in, say, hey, how's it going? Let me know how all of the New Year's and Christmas and all of those things went. Also, if you're watching on YouTube and you like this video, feel free to hit like and subscribe just so that you get notified when any new videos come on. All right. So the reason I want to talk about this today is because I was one of those people not that long ago that, New Year's would come around, everyone would be goal setting New Year's resolutions. And I was just like, eye roll, right? Like cue the eye roll. Because I just didn't really see the value in it. And it felt like, and maybe this is you too, maybe like you don't want to set goals because you feel like, who's got time for that? Like in the day-to-day, things, like why add one more thing to your plate, right? Or like, it's just one more thing. It's just one more thing I have to do, right? And that was me. And so I felt like it was just one more thing. I also values didn't really, or the goal setting didn't ring true to me because they didn't necessarily align with my values and priorities, right? Especially like the way people set goals and this and that. It just didn't feel like me. And so it felt very like I'm just setting a goal to set a goal. Right. And then what happens is you don't care about it and then you don't pay attention to it. And then the end of the year comes and you're like, I don't even remember what my goal was. Anybody? And so that's, as I've grown and as I've learned and as, I've gone through all of the mindset and personal development stuff, I've really started changing the way I view goal setting and the way that I do it so that doesn't feel like just another thing to add to my plate. It's authentic for me in the way I like to set goals. And having goals that I feel like are attainable, right? Like that was another reason why I didn't really like setting goals, is because I was kind of like, I already know I'm not going to, like my inner voice was like, you already know you're not going to meet this goal. So why set yourself up for disappointment? Right? But I've learned and I've grown and I've changed my mindset around that. And instead of thinking like it's just one more thing, or like why set yourself up for failure because you're not going to meet your goal, right? But when I started making goals, even if I didn't reach my goal, I was still finding that I was achieving things, right? Maybe I didn't reach my goal, but instead of thinking it like a failure, and so I'm not going to set goals anymore, it was like, well, you didn't meet your goal, but you did this, and this. So you're way further along than you would have been if you never set the goal in the first place, right? So let's talk about what goal setting can do for you, right? The first thing, looking at my notes here, is it paints the picture, right? When we set goals, we take the time to picture, right, what we want either the next year, the next month, the next week to look like. All right. And especially if you're feeling like every day's the same, I just do the same thing. I wake up, I get dressed, I take care of my kids, I go to work, do the same thing at work. I come home, I clean the house, I cook dinner, I put the kids to bed, and it's the same thing over and over. right? And you're like, there's no time for me. There's no time to do anything other than my giant long chores to-do list, right? But when we set goals, we can paint the picture. We can cast the vision, right? Of like, oh, what do I actually want in life? What do I want to change? What's been working really well that I want to keep going, keep that momentum going? And what are things that just need a little bit of tweaking, right? And so when we set goals, to me, it's not just about setting the goal, hitting or missing, right? To me, it's about painting the future, setting intentions, creating that reality that I want to achieve, maybe if I haven't gotten there yet. Right? So once we have that vision, it also allows us to check in, right? It allows us to check in and see, are our actions matching our vision, right? If this is my vision, but my actions are taking me this way, then when I look at my goals, I can say, okay, my, vision is one way and my actions are another way. So goal setting, really, especially if you do your goal setting in small increments, that allows you just that check-in to say, am I making choices and following opportunities that match with my vision? Or am I letting all of these other things that may or may not be priorities distract me from my vision, right? And then the last thing is really just after that check-in is like, where do those changes need to happen, right? If we don't have a vision, right, and we use goal setting to help us paint done, right, paint the vision. And our vision, so if we don't paint the vision, how are we going to know what choices to make and what opportunities to take or not take to create that reality that we want? Right? If you don't set goals, you're not giving yourself a roadmap, right? And so if we want to stop feeling like we're just doing the same thing every day, driving in circles in a roundabout, right? And we actually want a destination. We want to get to a destination. And we don't want to like take a right turn somewhere, go way down the line and be like, oh yeah, this was not the way to go, right? And have to turn around. Then we need to be setting goals. We need to have those benchmarks, those landmarks, that map to say, this is what I want. Right? And then these are the ways I'm going to get there. Right? And so for me, once my mindset changed around goal setting as far as not just another thing, but actually providing me a resource to get to where I wanted to go, right? Provided me the vision, then I could say, okay, how am I going to get there? These are the steps I'm going to take. This is the route I'm going to take. These are the things I'm going to do. And then being able to use that to check in. Not to say, oh, I reached it and I won, or I didn't reach my goal and now I feel like a failure and can't set goals again. Right? And actually, in my community, I did a 5-day fall back in love with goal setting, where I talk about why goal setting wasn't working for me, but then also a way that I set goals that feels very like soul identity goals versus the traditional fill in the blank. By this time, this will happen. I will measure it by, right? Because that felt very like flat and not connected with me, right? So if you want to check that out, it's free in my community. It's in the guides section. The link to the community is in the description of this video, so you can just click on that. If you're in my community, thank you for being here. And just, if you haven't done that, I suggest you go into the guide section and check it out. And if you're not in my community, you might want to get in there and do that. Just saying. All right. I will let you guys go because I have another training that I'm going to do in my community actually in about 5 minutes. So you guys have the best day, and I will see you next time.